Now, Darryl, I see the Great Australian Party as something of a trailblazer. I think the people involved in it have shown remarkable amounts of courage. One of the things you're working on or focusing on is attempts to publicise issues or matters, maybe even scandals that have been suppressed or hidden from the general public, things that the public would want to know about, have a right to know about, and may even be outraged about when they find out about these things. Can you talk about any issues that you're pushing to have revealed to the public?
Well, yeah, any Senate inquiry or the results of any Senate inquiry, of course, are for the public's consumption. The Senate, according to the prescribed law of this land, being the Constitution, prescribes the Senate as the High Court of Parliament. And as such, when the Senate deal with a public inquiry around any issue, then of course that is for public consumption. And the public then should be able to take the record of that inquiry and take it further. If there is evidence that comes forward out of that inquiry that highlights upon anybody, be it within the political system or outside of the political system, then that is for the public consumption. And the public then need to take that on board and accordingly deal with the ramifications of that inquiry. Of course, the Senate also has the power, being the High Court of Parliament, if the issue is affecting the general public or it has major ramifications. Under Section 50 of the Commonwealth Constitution, both houses can sit as one and deal with the issues. This all comes under privileges of Parliament. This is an inherited right from the Westminster system. The parliamentary system can sit as a court. They can jail people if that is the finding of whatever inquiry that is conducted. Criminal offences, of course, must be dealt with properly by the public court system, and what better recommendation to that court system than from the High Court of Parliament. If the Parliament feel they don't need to deal with that in their system, but they want the public courts to deal with that, if it involves a member of Parliament, then of course they can deal with it internally. But if it involves people that were in the parliamentary system but are no longer in the parliamentary system, then of course the recommendation would come from that Parliament to the public courts to deal with them accordingly. And of course that inquiry and any inquiry is vital for the public consumption. Any suppressions that are put on any findings of a Senate inquiry, of course, those suppressions really don't hold water. And that's what will be coming out in the very near future. So look forward to some findings of a fairly, in the last few years anyway, a Senate inquiry that was dealing with some atrocious behaviours of certain political figureheads that this country has put up on a pedestal. So these would be people involved in politics, not so much at a low-ranking level. You could be talking about some very high-ranking, high-profile Australian politicians. Absolutely, up as high as the one of the highest officers within the executive arm of government. I think there's a limit to how much you want to say now, and that's completely understandable. That's totally acceptable. But there could be some rather groundbreaking, earth-shattering information looming on the horizon. Absolutely, and it's for the public consumption, and we encourage the general public to take this information that will be released and to please take it further, because no one is exempt from the law in this country, and I believe in any country. Our laws are built on equity, and equity must prevail. regardless of whether you're Prime Minister or a Governor General or a Governor of a state or a politician, just a parliamentarian sitting on the backbench. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're a chimney sweep or a plumber. You're all answerable to the law. And as such, we're promoting that the Australian people take that on board and deal with it accordingly when that information comes out.
So a Senate inquiry, how would you describe or characterise a Senate inquiry? Would you describe it as an investigation conducted by the Senate or the government investigating itself? I think what you're saying here is these matters we're touching on, they have already been looked at, investigated in the form of a Senate inquiry. Answers have been found, things have been revealed or exposed. It's just that the general public have not heard about it.
That's right. And what we're trying to promote in this particular format is to say it's all good and well to have a Senate inquiry, but the Senate, if they knew their obligations under the law of this land, can take it further and sit as a high court accordingly and deal with the issues with respect to particular individuals and either accordingly put them out to the public courts, whoever's been found to be perpetrating a law, bringing about a breaking of a criminal or a civil offence, deal with it in the House if it's a member, or putting it out to the court system. But first and foremost, the Senate inquiries are just a precursor to further powers that the House can exercise, and that has not happened according to the law of this land. And this is something that we're going to be encouraging to happen, of course, that the law is exercised to its fullest extent. With respect to what's about to come out, of course, the people that are involved are no longer sitting in that parliament, but they are still alive and they're still answerable for the crimes that they've committed. So accordingly, we're just encouraging the people of Australia to take that knowledge, that the inquiry, the information that comes out from that inquiry, and exercises to its full extent.
When the information that has been discovered through a Senate inquiry has been located or identified, you're saying the information has been found, it hasn't been revealed to the public. Is this an attempt at suppression, or is it a case of the Senate not really understanding their obligations? They have a blanket statement, well, we don't reveal the details of what we investigate. We don't reveal that to the public. Are they trying to suppress this? They seem to think they have a legal right to keep this information to themselves. I think that might be what you're challenging.
Absolutely, and this is where we've got a situation, as we have had for the last 100 years in this country. We've got people who sit in that position, either in the Senate or the lower house, without full knowledge. They're being given very poor advice, and as such, it is now time for anything that comes across a senator or a member of the House of Representatives' desk that brings about an inquiry. The gates are open. The general public should have full access to that, regardless of who it involves, and as such, the quicker we can get that knowledge out there, the better, and the quicker we can deal with any misbehaviour, the better. So it's really a matter of focusing on this lack of knowledge that the Senate, members of the Senate and their advisors have, whether it's deliberate or not, is probably a subject for another inquiry. But we have got a problem here with respect to how these people have been dealing with this knowledge that comes across their particular desks. They're there, they're paid by the general public, they're there to represent the will of the people, and they've seemed to have dropped the ball. and they should know better. It doesn't take a lot to look into this stuff to see whether in fact any suppression orders hold water. They don't. You know, this information has to get out to the general public, and they have to deal with it.
So I think at this stage, as we've already explained, there is a limit on how much you can say at present. But when these matters become more visible, hopefully we can revisit the topic and address it a bit further. There are certain restrictions or limitations at the moment, but if it's okay with you, we'd love to come back and talk to you at a later stage. Do you have some time frame on when you may be able to reveal more details?
Well, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So there will be an announcement through the Great Australian Party, and we will put on the record what should have been put on the record a few years ago.